Hey everybody, it's Eric from EP Autos, your Libertarian car guy, and wanted to show you something that I've got the opportunity to demonstrate as it happens that relates to the article that I posted the other day about Volvo's decision to install speed limiters in all of its vehicles beginning with the 2021 models. And more ominously, the president of Volvo suggested that in addition to limiting the top speed, that the cars also ought to be programmed such that they can't speed, period. And people wrote to me and asked me, how is that possible? How could they do that? Well, I thought I'd show you. I'm going to use this 2020 Mercedes GL as a demonstrator. It, like a number of new vehicles, has this very interesting feature, which I've talked about before. If you look at the dash cluster here, you will see to the left of where it says, where it indicates my speed, 52 miles an hour, you'll hopefully be able to see the little icon that looks just like a speed limit sign. So there it is, and it knows that the road I'm on is a 55 mile an hour posted sign. Now, I'm going to speed. Watch what happens as I exceed the speed limit. Look at how it starts to flash. See that? So, the car knows that the car knows two things. Number one, it knows what the speed limit is on any road that I happen to be driving, pretty much. And it knows that because that's part of the GPS mapping. I don't know precisely how they put that data in, but they do. So all the GPS maps of roads correlate with the speed limits on those roads. So if you have a car that has this feature, which is many new cars now, the car knows how fast you're driving in real time. It also knows what the speed limit is on the road that you're driving in real time. Now, this is just a warning system for now in this Mercedes and in other cars, so they're touting it as for informational purposes only, so that you can glance at the speedometer and see that little flashing icon and realize, whoops, I'm speeding. But these cars also have telematics, send and receive capability. A lot of them can get programming updates over the air through Wi-Fi. And it would certainly be no great technological feat to throw a switch and have these cars programmed, the ones that are already out, so that they cannot exceed a given speed on a given road, and various other things as well. And I suspect that because of the power of the safety cult and the virtue signaling that attends, you're going to see other manufacturers besides Volvo start to ape Volvo to be safer than thou, to show just how safe they are. This is one of the dogmas of our time, that speed limits are a sort of rule of physics, ironclad, that to drive any faster than a posted speed limit is somehow dangerous. Of course, we all know that's a bunch of nonsense. If it weren't the case, we wouldn't all be speeding. And you think about it, everybody that you know speeds, even if just a little bit. Everybody speeds, everybody. So if you were to say that speeding is ipso facto dangerous, it means there should be just burning hulks all along the road and dismembered bodies and so on and so forth. It's just a bunch of fatuous nonsense. It's one of those laws like Prohibition in the 1920s that's on the books. It's very cynically enforced. Everybody knows it's a scam. It's all about separating people from their wallet and giving the state power to exert control over you. That's fundamentally what it's all about. But anyway, this is very creepy stuff. Very creepy stuff. Because for the first time it's become technologically feasible for them, and by them I refer to the government-corporate nexus. These two things have become largely the same thing, indistinguishable from one another, to closely monitor and to control all of our driving habits. And I foresee this potentially very depressing future scenario in which all cars basically operate at the level of a 1993 Geo Metro, because in addition to compelling you to obey every speed law, they could also decree that any kind of acceleration that they decree to be excessive could also be dialed back. Steering inputs could be dialed back. A lot of people don't realize that many new cars have electric power steering now with motors attached to it, and those motors actually can counter steer. and can thwart you and try to make you do what the programmer thinks you ought to do. So all of this dystopian, depressing, dreary, suffocating technology that used to be the stuff of science fiction is now science fact, and it is on the verge of being implemented. And so I encourage people listening to this, if they don't like it, to be like me and say so and push back against it. There's still time to prevent it from congealing and becoming something that we can't do anything about once it has time to set like concrete. So I'll have more up on epautos.com shortly. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you again soon.